Welcome to We Geek Podcast. Today is August 16th. We are at episode 111. My name is Adam, and I'm joined by my good friend Logan.
Hello.
What up, man? And we missed last week. It was my birthday, and I was out celebrating it, so my apologies for that. I had a blast with my family, though. It was pretty low on news that week too. So, but we got a lot of news this week. A lot of stuff came out. How have you been? How have you been the last few weeks, dude?
Same old. Work and, not work. And pretty much.
Work.
Yeah, same old. It keep cutting my hours, man. It's really bugging me.
Oh, damn, dude. That sucks. Yeah, that's never fun. I've just been chilling. Game of Thrones has been amazing.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about that at some point in this episode. But holy shit, has that been fun to watch. And I've actually gone back and started watching from episode 1 because there's so much to unravel and so many things, especially this season. Things coming together and characters coming together and just things from the past that have been brought up, and I'm like, and my buddy started it as well. I was like, you know what? I have HBO Go right now. I'm just gonna go back and start watching from episode 1. So that's been fun.
Nice.
Yeah. And so that's been cool. I've been playing I think we talked about this last week, just a shit ton of Splatoon.
Yeah. Still fun?
Oh, still fun. Still a blast. That and Battlegrounds has... Oh, I did it. Well, I shouldn't say I. We did it. Winner chicken dinner. I keep saying I because usually I play solo in the game. Usually I play either solo. I play duos with my buddy Sean. Shout out to Sean. He's listening, hopefully. No, he does. And we... I haven't gotten chicken dinner solo or with duos. It's so hard. And then with the team, it was 28 teams of 4 people. And I played with the guys over at the Talking Games podcast. And I felt bad because it was my first time playing teams and we got chicken dinner and they've been playing it for a while, so I felt terrible, but it was such a blast, dude. It was so cool.
Nice.
It was, oh man, like the feeling of, and the thing was, it was crazy. Cause I suck at the game. Like that's why I felt so bad. I'm like, these guys are good, they're, it's a little bit of, it's a lot of, you need, I don't know how to put it, but it takes skill for the game. Like the more you play, the more you learn,
Right.
The more you learn time management and everything else, and getting your gear, making sure you're on the right side of the circle. I felt like an idiot. Like I ran in front of one of my teammates while he was prone and shooting, and he's like, "Adam, get out of the way." I was like, "Oh God, I'm sorry." And I panic in moments like that. And we were down to the very last circle. We got lucky. There's a lot of luck to it as well. Like there's a lot of RNG. Like there's a lot of, if you're on the right side of the circle, fantastic. If you're not, you're going to go through hell. We got pretty lucky with where we're at in the final circle. And I went to go help a teammate because he got down, and he's much better than me. And I couldn't bring him back up, and it was because of the hill we were on. We came to that conclusion. I was hitting F. I saw it in front of me, told me to heal him, and it wouldn't do it. And finally, I was just like, all right. He was like, there's nothing you can do. Just go help. So I went back, and at that point in time, I believe it was Hugh who was on our team, and he was engaging with like the last person. So that person didn't know that I was there. I didn't think they knew that I existed. So they started coming closer to Hugh, and I came in from the side like the Velociraptor in Jurassic Park. And I just and got the final kill, the only kill of mine in the game. And winner chicken dinner came up, and everyone was happy. And that at that moment, I didn't feel bad that I screwed everything up, because the whole time, like, these guys are, they've been playing this just, they're so much better than me. And then we finally did it, and it was so much fun. It was so satisfying. And we played like 4 more times. We got close. We got in the top 10 each time, but it was worth it because that we got the chicken dinner. And so Battleground, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, definitely once that comes to consoles, pick it up. The Xbox will get it first, I think, in November.
Yeah.
And then PlayStation is sometime after that. And I'm curious how that's going to do on console, because there's 100 people in a server, and I don't know if consoles are going to be able to. They might have to strip it to like 50. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's going to be intense.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's so, there's no, I compared it to, how like the Division and Destiny, there is a grind and a grind and a grind, and you have to play for like 100 hours. There's no grind. The grind is when you get on the ground, you got to get loot. You know what I mean? And you got to equip it, and then you got to be your best, and you got to, and you can play solo, you can play duo, you can play in a group, and you're playing all this time, not because there's some carrot in front of you where you got to grind to get gear. You're playing because it's fun, and then when you die, you go right back into it. It's like Rocket League, That's kind of, it's a weird comparison, but that's how it feels to me. It feels like 2007's Rocket League, where you can play as much as you want, but when you get on the field, you're technically at the same level as everybody else,
right?
And you just play to have fun, if that makes sense.
Nice.
And get that chicken dinner. But it was cool. It was a lot of fun. And I've been playing. I just got Sonic Mania, so
nice. I've heard fairly good things.
Yes, absolutely get it. It's $20. It is. I got it on the Switch because I want to be able to take this to, if I'm going to hang out with family,
right,
or if I'm, on a road trip or something like that, or just, going anywhere in my house. I want to be able to have, because it's perfect on the Switch. But if you've got a PlayStation, I think it's the same price. It's $20, and it is what Sonic 4 should have been. It is, it's I think, now I could be wrong, I think there's like 12 zones or levels or whatever. There's
right.
2 for each zone or whatever. I think there's 12 of them. The game size is incredibly small. I looked at it, it was like 100 and some megabytes.
That sounds about right, yeah.
But it is because it's those old games. It's those old school games. And what was so cool, and I don't have the name up in front of me right now, and I wish I did. The developer of Sonic Mania. But he was a fan. He did mods.
Okay.
And that's why, and so this wasn't Team Sonic that made the game. This was, and I wish I could pull it up. I don't know if you can find it. Headcanon is the developer. The designer is Jared Castley or whatnot. I'm probably saying it wrong, but this was made for Sonic fans by Sonic fans. When you start out, like for example, the first level, it's extremely familiar. It's almost beat for beat, but then once you get about halfway through it, you realize it's different. You realize there's some mechanics in the game that were not in the original. And then there's whole new levels and stuff like that. So it's a way for them, I don't know, it's kind of like the new Star Wars movies. It's very familiar, but it ends up being different.
Nice.
And a lot of the reviewers, I have to agree with them when they said, I'm only a few zones into it, but a lot of the newer stuff is the best stuff. So it's 1 foot in the past, 1 foot in the future, but in the right way. It's all the same sprites from the original, so it is a Sega Genesis game at 60 frames per second, and it feels amazing.
Nice.
There's no slowdown. Yeah, it looks amazing. The music is some of the best music I've heard in a video game in a long time, because it just gives you that Sonic 90s. Like, I want to go have a chili cheese dog and watch Ninja Turtles. You know what I mean? Like, you get that Saturday morning feeling when you're playing it, that nostalgia, and it feels amazing. And like I said, it's $20. It's not a $60 game, so, and it has obviously high replay value. There's so many different nooks and crannies in those levels.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's been a lot of fun. Yeah, man, I went a long time about Sonic, but yeah, it was great. Right. It was great. It was a good time.
I've had a weird couple weeks, because I've actually been watching like a handful of horror movies, which is strange for me.
Oh, yeah.
I watched The Taking of Deborah Logan, enjoyed it.
Oh.
I watched The Visit, enjoyed it. That was a Shyamalan twist I didn't see coming. That was surprising.
I saw the first part of it. I didn't finish. I need to finish that movie.
Finish it. It gets good.
It was only because I had to leave. I didn't have time. I had to go somewhere, and I just never got back to it.
Yeah, finish it. It's good. It's one where you look at it and you go, this is how this is done right. It's right, not, because like everything after The Sixth Sense was like, oh, well, that was really neat. And then after that, everything Shyamalan was like, oh, yeah, of course it's that, and it's that. And, okay, it's the trees, sure, because that makes sense. But you get to this, and you're like, oh, well, that was unexpected.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, we talked about Split, right? You've seen Split?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Yeah, so he's been making a comeback.
He has. Yeah. Damn him. I was so content to just, it's like with Franco again. It's like, nope, hate him. Shit, he's making good stuff. I can't really hate him anymore.
Right.
Damn these people.
Oh, yeah.
Damn them. What else did I watch? I watched, there was one more. The Den, which was like a pre-Unfriended kind of thing.
The Den?
Yeah. It's another, like, it takes place all on a laptop, but it's different, because Unfriended is really more of a haunting kind of movie. It's more about ghosts. The Den is more of a hacking, cyberbullying, the nature of people on the internet kind of movie.
Oh, okay.
And it's interesting. It's not tremendous, but it's you watch it and you're like, oh, okay, this was a movie that somebody was eventually going to make, and the people that did it didn't do a bad job, so kudos to them.
Yeah. Oh, okay. It was like a chat roulette type deal.
Yeah. It kind of starts with that, and then it spirals as you would expect.
Right.
But been doing that, and I haven't been playing, like, I've been bouncing between Rocket League and, interestingly enough, Wolfenstein, because it was because it was free. What, last month or at some point in the past? I don't know. I was going through my I was going through my games library, and I was like, oh yeah, I never finished that. And apparently I picked a really prescient month to start fighting Nazis. Who knew?
Exactly.
What fucking year are we living in, man? But
oh yeah. So Jesus, that was terrible.
Yeah. And so that's been the week, really. I don't know. I got on kind of a found footage kick, where I was just like, and I forget why. Like, I was looking up something, and I was like, I haven't watched a decent scary movie in a while.
Have you seen VHS?
Yes, I have. VHS was the last found footage movie that I saw before I started on this, and that was 4 years ago, I think.
Gotcha.
Because that opening segment I was just like, nope, I'm done. I'm walking away now. Like, I can't. Because I am not great with horror films. I'm not. I love the idea. I love the execution. I can't watch them for shit. I scare way too easy. But
oh man,
yeah. So
you would love. You wouldn't be able to do VR.
No, no,
The horror stuff.
no, 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 no. I'll take a pass on that, thanks. But no,
Man.
I watched the first segment of VHS and I was like, this was awesome. It was scary as hell. I gotta walk away now. I'm just like, so hats off to them. I heard that the sequel was actually even better. I heard that VHS 2 was actually really good.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, I heard it that the segments were better and the like the framing narrative wasn't quite as like tissue paper thin. But then they did a third one, and it was exactly what people were afraid it was going to be. It was like, oh yeah, this was okay. Yeah, they did this fine.
Have you seen Funny Games?
Not ringing any bells, so I'm gonna go with no.
That has to be one of the scariest movies I've ever seen.
Really? What's it about?
Yeah, I watched the American remake. I think yeah, because there was I think one of them's Australian. Watch the American one. I mean, I don't know. Because I don't know about the other one.
Okay.
I think obviously it's just as good or probably better because it was the original. But I watched the 2007 one. And it's frightening because it's about home invasion, and I think that's what made it so frightening to me. Is that considered horror?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Basically, two psychopath kids just hold a family hostage.
I have heard of this. Yeah, I have definitely heard of this.
Yes,
Yeah,
it is. It's frightening. These two just, I mean, and the family is living in like, I don't even know, some northeastern $1 million home, $1 million neighborhood.
Yeah,
they got the polos on, and they're just as white as you can get. They look like they just came from a tennis match,
right?
And it's frightening because of how crazy they are. And I remember watching that right out of high school, and I had these two roommates, and they're both girls. Wouldn't just every door was locked, and I was right there with them, locking all the doors. Like, no, this is creepy because it is crazy how someone could just walk in and they can be a crazy, and the things that they make them do in the movie, it's insane.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. Watch that.
Yeah, right. Thanks. I'll do that.
yeah. It's freaky.
Yeah,
it's got Tim Roth in it.
Yeah, anything.
I think he was in both of them.
Yeah, anything with Tim Roth. Yeah, it was the 2007 version was a shot-for-shot remake of the dude's own 1997 film. Like he remade his own film. That's nuts.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then there you go. Yeah. It's like him. He's doing a reimagining. It's like, okay, we'll just do an updated version for America. Oh yeah, I'm looking at the screenshots. It's like beat for beat.
Yeah, it's the same. It's like the Psycho remake. It's like, oh, they just did exactly the same movie, but years later.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right, dude, we got to take a quick break. When we get back, we will get into some news. Again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. We'll see you guys all in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM, and let's just get into the news here. We got some movie news up at the top. Some big news coming out of Disney and Netflix. Disney is wanting to launch their own streaming services in 2019.
Yeah.
And Netflix is trying to negotiate to keep future Disney titles on the service as well. Which I don't think is out of the realm of possibility. I think they pay Disney enough. But I don't know. Well, what do you do? What do you do if you're Disney?
I think if you're Disney, I think if you're Disney, you let them keep some of the low rent stuff. Some of the like sequels that, like who's actually watched Mulan 2? Let them have those kind of things. It's like, yeah, they can have some Disney stuff. But I don't see this as I see this as something I'm surprised they didn't do sooner, really. But
that's my thing with it is like, if they were going to do it, I wish they would have done it before now. Now you got all these people on Netflix because they know that the new Marvel movies and the new Star Wars movies and stuff like that are going to be on the service a few months after they're on Blu-ray.
True.
And that's going to suck in a few years when that's not going to be. Or not, now are they going to retroactively go back and remove those films?
I think so. Yeah. Well, I mean, that'll just be like when the rights to anything else on Netflix run out.
Yeah, that's going to suck because I mean Disney has their Pixar titles. Like you can go watch Moana right now on Netflix. Like
Yeah.
their Pixar, their live action, their Star Wars, their Marvel films. Like that's a huge chunk of Netflix. That's one of the reasons I think a lot of people get Netflix. And what I imagine this means nothing to their Netflix Marvel shows, right? That can't.
Ah,
I mean, they're made by Netflix.
I
I
think
don't think
yeah.
they could be taken off.
No, I think you're right. I think that's more like a network deal. Like
Netflix Studios.
yeah, it's
Um,
their it's a co-production kind of thing. So it is made partially by Netflix. So it's
does this
still.
means Netflix loses ABC shows? Like, are we not going to get Agents of Shield?
Uh, I would think not. I would think that would go too. I don't
Oh
know how
man, dude.
much ABC content moves off of Netflix though. I think maybe it limits to just the Marvel stuff and any kind of future Marvel anything like Inhumans. I don't think I don't think they lose like Grey's Anatomy and How to Get Away with Murder and all that stuff.
Right.
Uh,
I think if any studio could do this and has enough content, it is Disney.
yeah,
But at the same time, I don't like this precedent. I don't like that now that if I want to watch the new Star Trek show, I got to get the CBS app, and if I want to watch Disney's, I got to get the Disney app. And
I
by the end of the month, the WWE network and everything else, all these subscription services, if you start calculating them,
yeah.
it's crazy.
Well, but people are moving away from standard cable, man. And I
Yeah,
think this has been a long time coming. I'm a little surprised that we haven't seen this from other. I mean, Sony's tried it with Crackle to virtually no success because I don't know
hmm
anybody who actively uses Crackle.
no,
But I think this idea has been around for a while, and I'm genuinely surprised it's taken this long. But I'm not surprised that Disney is the one saying, "Look, we've got we've got an entire history here. We've got content coming out of our ears."
right.
Um,
Oh yeah.
and they just bought the company that uh, I think I don't know if it designed or it ran or what they had to do with the MLB network. They
hmm
were the company behind the infrastructure for that, if I remember right.
Right.
So it's not like they're just kind of diving into this and saying, "Well, we'll figure out streaming as we go." They've
hmm
got a company that knows how to put this kind of platform together, and
Right.
especially with them also including ESPN as a
hmm
streaming service instead of just ESPN.com as like an add-on, like, oh, if you subscribe to ESPN through your cable you can sign in, blah blah blah. Having like ESPN Go is going to be a big hit for cable providers because I
Oh yeah,
that's
that's one of the main reasons
yeah,
that people kept them because you can get the local channels on your antenna
yeah.
pretty much. And ESPN is the other big one where you're like, hey man, I want to watch Monday Night Football. That's on ESPN, right? Sound like an idiot, but yeah,
ESPN, sometimes ABC.
yeah. Well, yeah, and so you're yeah, when you take away the ESPN and you put it into an app, yeah, that's gonna cut a lot of the cable companies. I just where does it stop though? Is
It
is
doesn't.
is Universal going to pool their content and create a Universal app and Paramount
Well,
and
here's
now
the
CBS?
well,
It's
here's the
just
thing. The thing with Universal, because they're owned by
oh, that's CBS.
Comcast.
Oh, they're owned by Comcast.
Yeah.
They're CBS too, right?
Oh, I don't know who owns CBS. I don't.
Um,
No, I don't think so. No, that's NBC. It's NBC Universal.
okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
CBS is something else. I forget who. But I
No, it's Universal.
no, Universal doesn't own CBS.
Um, I don't know.
No, it's NBC. It's NBC Universal.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
I don't know. I don't know who owns CBS or if they're their own. I forget.
Paramount.
Okay, so it's Paramount owns CBS. Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Paramount used to own them, I guess. I don't know. Jesus.
Yeah, I'll dig. I don't know. I'll dig a little into that.
Yeah.
But
CBS, Paramount Television, merging Paramount Television, CBS Production, yada yada blah blah blah. Yeah.
okay. But
So.
I think every company will eventually have its own app. I think that's what it'll be. I think it'll be TV a la carte. I do. Because cable has been dying a long, slow death for a while now. And I think something like this is the first like giant blow to say, hey, if you want ESPN, come get the Disney app. I think that's where it's gonna hurt. Like CBS deciding, hey, we're gonna do our own stuff on an app, that wasn't gonna move a needle. That wasn't. If CBS had suddenly decided, hey, but they couldn't do that because they have to. Oh, okay. Because if they were going to go off the air entirely because they're working on public airwaves, that's a mess. But something like with like HBO, like you don't have to have cable to have HBO. Now you're not going to have cable to have ESPN. Like hello, this is
right.
And I do think eventually that like every studio or every company is going to start having their own app. I think you're gonna see if they're smart. I think you're gonna see Sony seriously revamp Crackle in the next year or two to be something that people want because Sony's got a massive library and they should be doing something with it. And I think this is their way to handle that. I also think you're gonna start seeing this change distribution deals. I think you're going to start seeing this change production deals. I think this is going to signal a new shift in how not only we've seen how entertainment is consumed has changed since Netflix. And I think this is going to be a similar shift in how entertainment is distributed and produced in terms of who does what and who has control of what and how these deals are structured and how I think we're going to start seeing a lot less of the 23 episode season even on network TV in order to catch up. I think I think this is I'm not saying like, oh, this is the beginning of a brand new era no, I think this is just the next milestone. It started with Netflix with the idea of binge watching. It did. And that was the boulder starting to roll down the hill. And I think this is just the next village it crushes on its way down, basically.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's I think you nailed it there. And that's why I think Netflix is doing a lot of original programming.
Yeah.
And great at it. I talked about, what is it, Ozark or?
Yeah, you mentioned that the other week.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's all my friends are talking about right now. Like it's no wonder they have all of this content that they're putting into. I think next week we got the Defenders.
Defenders on Friday.
On Friday, yeah. There's also that one show that I want to go and see, the Wet Hot American Summer season 3 or whatever, or season 2. There was the movie, and then there was season 1, which was all of the same actors playing younger versions of themselves from a movie that they did years ago in the 90s.
Right. And isn't the next season like them now? Or
season 3 in the future, yeah. It's 30 years later or whatever.
Oh boy.
It's the same actors. The premise is hilarious to me, so I'll probably watch that. And but yeah, The Defenders is Friday, so that's the big one. That's the big one for us, I think, this year. That and Stranger Things. It's crazy. Stranger Things just a year old now, and look how massive that is. So I hope that Disney maybe does a lot of the same thing, does some original. They have to do some original content on that application. It can't just be all, here's our library. I guess it could, but
I think
I don't know.
I think you're gonna start seeing a lot of like you're gonna start seeing like a lot of Disney XD and Disney Channel shows.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them start to migrate over there. I think that's going to be a gradual process. That's going to take a few years before they start to really phase them out.
Well, if you think about it, that's for parents. That's what Netflix is mostly used for,
right?
Except for at night when they're watching it. But for their kids, they put on the Netflix Kids, and it's nothing but Disney stuff and Avengers and Mickey Mouse and all that other stuff. So that's going to be a huge chunk loss for Netflix if it's all going to the Disney app. So I think you're right.
Just just have Disney put not just shows, but even do it by age group.
Right.
Here's your kid
you
is
can do
0.
Pixar shorts.
Exactly. There's it's absolutely a kind of like, oh, here's a killer kid app basically.
Right. Yeah. We're gonna release the new Cars show on here, and why not? you know?
That would work.
Yeah.
That would absolutely work because nobody's really going to care enough to put a lot of money into that. So
exactly. I would be upset if it was like we're now putting Agents of Shield completely on this app because they would, I think, be putting it there to die.
Right. No, I think that's you have to balance the idea of like what has the kind of mass market appeal, of something like Agents of Shield, which even then is a little.
They have to blow it out of the water, honestly. That's what Netflix had to do for people to take them seriously with TV shows. They had to blow you out of the water.
Right. Here's where you get your spin-offs. They've been trying to do that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. spin-off forever, and ABC just kind of never had a place for it. Now you've got a place for it. This is where that kind of thing could live, and make those shows. Don't just send them there to die. Like, oh hey, here's the Mockingbird spinoff to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and it looks like a B studio production. Make it a big freaking deal.
No, it needs to be on the same level when Netflix. I think their first big shows were House of Cards and Orange Is the New Black.
Right.
And they were powerhouses. And they were two completely, tonally different shows. And then, everything else after that was perfect.
Yeah.
Not perfect, but you know what I mean? Like, there was just great content coming out of that. So they need to follow suit with stuff like that.
And if anybody could come close to matching that, it's Disney. I mean, Disney owns the freaking world. So, I mean, it's not like they're going to be...
Yeah.
They're not going to be hurting for content or content creators.
That's why I think we're even though I'm a little like, oh, this sucks, I have way more faith in Disney doing an application than CBS.
Right. Well, because look at what CBS was putting on it. Stuff that was... It's a thing of like... And again, this
Brady
is...
Bunch.
Right. And it was kind of to go back to my other point, like they were doing a Good Wife spinoff. Okay, but did anybody really want that? Because it only has like one of the characters from the show. Like, was that something that people were really gonna clamor for? The Star Trek show would have been great had it come out at the beginning of the year like it was supposed to have. But even then, that by itself, not enough to drive people to an app. It wouldn't be enough. I look at this and I think of, look at all the jobs that Disney is now going to need to hire people for. Think about the content creators that are going to get a shot because suddenly Disney's volume is going to have to seriously crank up again. The live action and the animation. Think about this. Now they can have their own, here's a Disney streaming service animation exclusive. Go back to when they had the animation studios split, because that was that was when we got movies like Mulan and Atlantis and all them, was when they split up the animation studios and they told one, just do whatever, and they did some amazing shit.
Well, did you see that NBC now is in the talks to do another 30 Rock, another Office? They're doing Will and Grace. Like, they're trying to bring back the shows that really they're the ones that they want to bring back. From what I read, was West Wing, ER, Office.
Yeah.
Those are the three big ones that they want to bring back. Technically, they could easily do those, right? They could easily do West Wing. That'd be interesting. ER. They could easily do, and The Office, that's the one where I think like you got to get the right talent. Like, The Office would be hard to bring back with none of the same characters.
Right. Well, and The West Wing even to an extent, because that was a character show. It was just set in the White House.
Right.
It was
but it would be a whole new cast. I mean, it wouldn't be the same.
Oh yeah, no, it would have.
You couldn't. Yeah.
No, it would have to be like all new people and all this. But that's the interesting thing about those is they were character driven dramas, and they're not really big on that much anymore. And I say that, knowing you have things like Parks and Rec that were, character driven comedies. The Office was a character driven comedy.
Well, I think Parks and Rec was the spiritual successor of The Office. I mean, it was actually going to be a spin-off of The Office until they changed it.
Right. Oh no, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so dude, that's one thing on Netflix I randomly will go back to is episodes of The Office because God, that was good. I never saw West Wing. Maybe I'll check that out one day. Everyone loves it, so
it's aged. It's very of its time, and
I bet.
And it's and I mean it's a Sorkin drama, so prepare for lectures and lots of dialogue. But it's hard to separate the politics from it, obviously. But just the idea of the characters that are going through what they are and everything, that's what really sells a drama like that, or like ER. Or like any of the Shondaland stuff. It's not so much about...
Well, The Newsroom, isn't that by Sorkin too?
Yeah, really Newsroom was strange. Newsroom was more preachy. And, hey, if that's your thing, great. But, like, that's what it is about those shows, is you wind up caring about the characters and how they react. It's not so much about what their message is, although I imagine a disconnect if you're on the other end of the spectrum. But you wind up looking at these characters, and that's what attracts you to them.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. All right, well, hey, we got to take a quick break. We'll get back. We'll get more into news. Again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. We'll see you guys all in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. And before we left, we were talking about Disney doing their own application and what that would mean. And we're talking about original content and... Yeah, I don't know if I have any more to say about that. I'm interested to see what happens and how that plays out with Netflix, and hopefully by that time, I'm sure Netflix will have a ton more of content and deals worked out. Yeah. Yeah.
I think eventually it means Disney XD becomes an app exclusive. I think that network just goes away.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and I mean, if I could get, for example, on the Disney app, every Marvel film from Marvel Studios in one location in Star Wars, that would be the big one. If they were like, oh yeah, all the Star Wars films right here, because you can't get it, you can't even get them on Netflix right now in America.
Right.
If somehow they worked that deal out with 20th Century Fox, because they would have to do that.
Yeah. Let's just ask them how those Fantastic Four talks are going.
Oh yeah, jeez. You know what? I want to be a fly on the wall in those meetings, because we know that Disney gave Fox the rights to do X-Men on television. I don't know what the deal was or how long it could be. I don't think it was the same deal when they were like, oh, here's the rights. They're just borrowing them, if that makes sense. Just like how Marvel's borrowing Spider-Man. So they have the rights now to do X-Men on television. I don't think it's the same where it was when the movie, they sold the rights and they never could get them back unless they stopped making content. But we never found out what Disney got in return. And that's where I'm curious about. Is it Fantastic Four stuff? Probably not at this point, or else we would have heard about it. Is it Star Wars stuff? Did 20th Century Fox go, you know what? Let us do X-Men TV shows, and we'll allow you to distribute the original Star Wars films.
No, because that's a shitty deal.
It is you're right. It is a shitty deal.
That's an awful deal.
It's an awful deal, but oh man, I don't. But I could imagine them that being in the conversation, at least them trying to get that back. Like, hey, can we distribute this? Like, can we have a deal where we get a percentage and you get a percentage? I don't know. I don't know how any of that works, but we still have. That's the big question mark. We never found out what Disney got in return, because X-Men on television is a huge deal too. It's not as big as Star Wars, but that we've been clamoring for that for a while now, right?
True. I'm curious to see how it turns out. I'm skeptical of this being a big breakout hit.
Legion was pretty big for a small television show. So
yeah, but it was on FX though, so they could go. It's the difference between network and cable. Cable tends to be higher quality because it has fewer boundaries. I think network. I don't know. It could turn out to work, but
here's what I'm afraid of.
Okay.
This is going to be a half step, because with Heroes, the whole time we were going, man, if only these could be like X-Men characters.
Right.
And it's going to be in the X-Men universe, but it's a half step because they don't want to touch they don't want to touch all their characters in the main movies.
Right.
So they're going to use characters that are so far removed from the franchise that it's going to be like Gotham, where you're like, fuck, there's all these cool characters, but I want Batman.
Right.
You know, at least with Smallville, you got Superman. You know what I mean? To a point.
True.
But yeah, so I think it's going to be a half step, and I think the whole time, ironically, people are going to compare it to Heroes. They're going to be like, this is just Heroes, which is funny.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah. But we got some Avengers 4 news. Russo brothers share image of Infinity Gauntlet. Hold on a second. I just clicked out of the...
Yeah.
Go ahead and read the news here.
Yeah. No, they tweeted a picture of just the empty gauntlet, which was their way of saying production has started. And we don't even have a title for Avengers 4, not officially. But it may be I think it's Infinity Gauntlet. I think who was it? Zoe Saldana
there we go.
At a red carpet or something somewhere kind of let it slip.
Sorry about that. I got it back up now. Yeah, that would make sense too. I you know, I read that Nick Fury's not going to be in Avengers 4. He's not going to be in the new Ant-Man movie. He's not going to be in Black Panther. He's only going to be in the Ms. Marvel, which is crazy.
Yeah. I don't know.
Which is a flashback.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it depends on his character arc. I do like whoever it was that basically said, how are you going to have a black superhero film and not have Nick Fury in it?
Right?
Because, I mean, you know, let's be fair. It's a good point. It's a solid point. And I agree with that point. But
he's been hiding. That would kind of make sense if he was in Wakanda.
Sure.
Yeah, what I think it is it's probably Samuel L. Jackson asking for a lot of money. I have no idea. I don't know.
Well, I imagine Sam is not cheap anyway, so I would imagine his going rate just for being Samuel L. Jackson is already pretty high.
Right, I didn't mean that in like he's holding out. I just meant like he's probably very expensive, and so if they can cut that, they can't. I don't know. I wish he was in more because he's fantastic.
Yeah, he's good.
So Avengers, Jesus, they're calling it 4. So yeah, so that is the 4th Avengers film. I didn't even think about that. We're gonna have them back to back pretty much.
Yeah.
From one year to another, and that's kind of what I guess the Civil War was, right? With Ultron, they pretty much were both Avengers films.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's gonna be crazy. I can't wait. I can't wait to get past this part. This sounds weird, but I can't wait to see those movies because they look fantastic. The weird camera thing that we saw of the trailer looked amazing. I can't wait to see those, but I can't wait to get past that. I can't wait for the next Spider-Man movie that starts the brand new the brand new era of Marvel films. Because they're saying it's going to be a significant difference between what came before it and what's going to be after it. I think
it's not going to be like, oh, here's another Cap film and another Thor film and here's more Iron Man. Like it's going to be all the next. It's going to be the new Avengers.
Yes, exactly. And I hope they call the next Avengers film after that the New Avengers.
Right.
Yeah, Captain Marvel. Hopefully, we'll get a Miss Marvel. Uh, well, maybe some point in the future we'll have Miles, and it'd be great.
The doors are wide open. Like there's no
Exactly.
reason not to have them.
Oh yeah.
We just
Oh
have to
yeah.
be patient. We're not going to get them for a number of years because that's
Oh
how
yeah.
narrative works. Like it can't just be
Right.
like, "Oh, this did great. Now we have to do this immediately," because no, have some patience. It's
That's why I wish some of this were TV shows. We got it with the Netflix stuff, but
I would
um,
we could have a Miss Marvel TV show. That would be awesome.
totally,
That would be
absolutely, yeah,
cool. I mean, we're getting Cloak and Dagger as a TV show.
yeah. The one that always grinds my gears that we don't have is Star Wars.
Yeah, no Star Wars TV show. Well, if Disney decides to launch its own app,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
there's a
If
killer.
it's good quality, then yes, I'm
Right.
all on board.
You want your
Um.
you want your House of Cards for
Oh yeah.
Disney's app, then there it is. There's your damn Star Wars TV show.
Absolutely. Yeah. My idea for a game is kind of what my idea for a Star Wars TV show is, and we'll talk about that later
Yeah.
because that would be fantastic. But yeah, we got some news from Deadpool 2. We got some good news and some bad news.
Yeah.
Some bad news. We'll start with that. Unfortunately, one of the stuntmen or stunt doubles uh, died. They got into an accident on the set. Now they didn't release the name or anything because I imagine for respect for the family. Um, but it looked like they were on a motorcycle or something like that. So they've unfortunately passed during the production. So
Yeah, it was
hearts go out.
it was a stunt woman who
Yeah,
was and it was in the middle of a motorcycle stunt.
it's terrible.
Uh, that
Wow.
that sucks.
Wasn't I don't there wasn't one on the first movie, right? Because I remember there was one maybe a year ago. Um,
There was a Death on the Walking Dead set.
that's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Such it's a tragedy.
This is going to cause a lot of reevaluation of not just stunts but of safety and the equipment and everything. Because to have one death from a stunt accident is tragic, but to have
Mhm.
two in fairly close succession, just a not more than a couple months apart,
Yeah.
that's going to cause a lot of concern and a lot of, okay, stop,
Mhm.
we need to take a look at this.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Um. Oh yeah. Well, there's no real way to transition out of that, but there was some other Deadpool 2 stuff that came out that we saw the first images of Josh Brolin as Cable,
And
and
he
he looks
looks,
like Cable.
go for it,
Oh, go
man.
ahead.
No, you got it. You were gonna say what I was gonna say.
No, he looks like dead on Cable.
Yeah.
If I could get one criticism out of the way before I praise it, he needs like this is impossible because it's just Josh Brolin is not that size. The Cable in my mind is bigger, like taller and more looking like a professional wrestler.
Right.
But for what they did with Josh Brolin, everything about him looks like Cable. To his arm, the he's got the teddy bear thing strapped to his hip, which and it's funny because that reminded me of when he was helping Hope Hope, what's her name? She was the mutant that after the oh, it's a long story, but after the whole Messiah complex in the comic is when Hope would she was the first mutant that was born with the mutant gene after um Wanda said no more mutants.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
so
Right.
Cable saved her and took her throughout time. And that reminded me of that because of the teddy bear. So I'm wondering if that has to do like there's so many little things on his outfit that's just it is Cable, from the big bullets to the ridiculous gun that makes no sense. Um, yeah, with all the crazy stuff on it and his teleportation outfit thingy. It's his eye, his hair, everything is, and he's dude is buff. Dude has gained so much weight, and that's why I say at the beginning of that. Josh Brolin has become he's huge for his size.
Yeah.
It was the only thing is usually in my mind Cable's like up like the height wise
well,
bigger, but
and I mean
that was the only thing.
We got to remember, like 90s comic book characters were always a little overblown, and I mean,
Right.
we're never gonna get the size we want in guys like that. Like Cable was a huge dude, Venom was a huge dude, but
we're never gonna get the size with the actor.
Right.
And you can hire a professional bodybuilder, but the acting's gonna be shit. They're not all gonna be The Rock.
True. That's very true. But there's a difference between like, well, we can't get the size, so we just need the actor, and going to, Topher Grace for Venom,
Right.
and not to rag on him too much because it wasn't his fault really, but and then to say, well, let's aim for something close to the mark as well as finding a great actor, and I mean, Josh Brolin is just hell yeah, man, he's gonna kill it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, man. So that was that looked great. Everything out of that film, of course, except for the tragedy, looks everything they're doing, looks great. I can't wait to see that film. That comes out early next year, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We got here. I'll let you take the next bit of news. This was awesome.
Yeah, we got some Lion King casting news over the last couple weeks. We got Chiwetel Ejiofor is going to play Scar, which is awesome. We've got John Connie, who played, I cannot remember offhand the character's name, but T'Chaka, the dad in Civil War. He played the old king of Wakanda.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, he's going to be Rafiki.
Okay.
And Alfred Woodard is going to be Sarabi. And
awesome.
That's going to be awesome. But then there was this other interesting bit of news, and it's just rumors and, people campaigning for things as they are wont to do. There is a particular trio who says that they would be really good for the Hyenas. You remember Ed, Shenzi, and Banzai?
Yeah.
The fucking New Day wants to be the Hyenas.
Oh, that would be perfect.
That would be amazing. That would be awesome, because like Big E would be a great Ed.
Oh yeah.
He would be fantastic, and then just either other two would be great. I think it's fantastic.
That would be perfect. And did you see Seth Rogen is going to be Pumbaa, Billy Eichner is going to be Timon?
Yeah. I think we talked about that a while ago because it was rumored.
Oh, we did.
I think just recently it was confirmed.
Oh yeah, that's right. And John Oliver's gonna be Zazu.
Yeah.
Man, this cast is coming together.
This could be great. I'm really hoping the New Day gets this. Come on, man.
Oh yeah, New Day. That would be fantastic. Oh man, that would be perfect. That would be, and then imagine the cross promotion that they would get. They would have the costumes with. Oh, that would be fantastic.
And just like you couldn't ask for a trio who would throw themselves into character more.
Oh yeah.
Really, like they would be all over it. And then so.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Could you just imagine like Big E and Kofi holding Woods out like over the top turnbuckle?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that I think we would legitimately see Woods cry on camera.
Oh yeah.
With that news, because he's such a nerd like us.
Yeah. It would just. Oh man.
Like what a like that would be insane, and I would love every moment of that. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's great. Let's see here. See, I remember Ed was one of the names, but I didn't know the other ones.
Yeah, Ed, Shenzi, and Banzai. Shenzi was the one that Whoopi Goldberg played originally.
Oh, okay. Ed was the one that was crazy, right?
Yes.
With like crazy eyes. Yeah, that's why I remembered him.
Yeah, he didn't speak so much as just make noise. Yeah, that's why Big E would be perfect.
Stuck out.
Yeah, Big E would just go full hog into that. Like,
yeah,
it'd be
that
awesome.
Would be great. Oh yeah. Silver and Black. Silver Sable Black Cat film gets February 8th, 2019 release date.
Yeah, cool. Good for them.
Yep. Well, we got to take a quick break. We got a little bit of movie news left. When we get back, we'll get into some TV news. But again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM, and we will see you guys all in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM, and we got a little bit of movie news left, and we'll just hop into TV. We got some Creed 2 news. Dolph Lundgren to return as Ivan, was it Drago? Drago.
Ivan Drago. Yeah. It makes sense. I mean, he would kind of, that's a confrontation you would have to have. I mean, just...
Yeah.
It would, you have to have Creed's son in some way confront the man who killed his father. You have to, So I could see this. I hope this isn't like a long, huge, drawn-out thing.
Right.
But I don't just want it to be a throwaway either. It needs to be a nice moment of however they're going to do this.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting because a lot of the newer stuff with Rocky is way more, it seems more serious, where the older stuff was like, it seemed to be a little bit more outlandish.
Well, it was, for one thing, it was the 70s for one thing, and then it was the 80s, and they were products of the times.
Right. That's what I mean, because didn't he kill me? He was like, he will die, or like, it was very.
If he dies, he dies.
He dies.
Yeah.
That's what. That's the line I was looking for. Thank you. Where now I'm sure he'll be like, I fucked up. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like, I think it'd be way more a serious tone.
I mean, that'll be reflective of the fall of the USSR too. Like, that was, he rose as a prominent figure of this block of countries that doesn't exist anymore. So that's I mean, it'll be a way of like how that mirrored that, and he lost to Rocky and kind of called out everybody from who was there, like, as like the fictional Politburo of like, I'm not your puppet, I'm the one in this ring, blah blah blah, the whole thing of like, I'm my own man suddenly.
Right.
So that's, I don't know, it'll be interesting to see. And yeah, he's not going to be living really great. Like, he's going to be down on his luck working in a butcher shop or something. Like, it's going to be kind of sad.
Yeah, all of these Rocky films are super sad. It seems like it's terrible. I feel like I'm watching The Wrestler sometimes when I'm seeing it.
Well, but I mean, they've had a good balance, and they haven't like really harped on it. Like, okay, and this is why this is sad, because he's getting old, and sometimes this is what happens. But there's been a balance with Adonis in there, and the fact that he is young and full of life and just trying to figure out who the hell he is in the world. Creed was a great bookend piece of here's the idea of youth and how you should spend it and what you need to do and how to find yourself, and here's this idea of old age and how these things can happen at the twilight of your life, and how do you deal with them? Do you just lay down and die, or do you fight? So I loved it on so many levels, but I thought the way they balanced that thematically was awesome.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. That's definitely one to look forward to. We got some Pacific Rim Uprising news. The film is going to be delayed 1 month to March 23rd.
Yeah, it was originally set February 23rd. They just bumped it a month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, big deal.
Yeah, I want to see that new John Boyega movie, Detroit. It looks pretty good.
I've heard.
I've seen him.
Yeah, I've heard some interesting things.
I haven't heard anything. Well, I don't know. I guess I've just seen like him doing a lot of the press tour and stuff like that. But I haven't seen any reviews or anything.
I've seen a lot of reactions that are the same of like, yeah, it's cool. Here's a movie about racism and about black oppression, but it's told through a white lens.
Oh.
So there's, I mean, that doesn't necessarily stop it from being a good movie, but is it, what kind of issues then do you incur when, somebody with the best intentions who's just trying, the director's just trying to tell the story on the script. That's the director's job. But when, different, without doing a whole giant treatise on it, our perception of things is different from other people's perception of things. How we experience history is different from how a group, not just a group who lived it, but even if you both lived it at the same time, if you're on different sides, it is so hard to shift your perception and your biases, intended or otherwise. So how does that kind of color the storytelling?
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. It's kind of like, with Spielberg and Schindler's List. He was I think the movie would have been a little bit different. If it wasn't under someone's control like it was his, if that makes sense.
True.
Yeah, like he obviously saw that through a different lens than someone who might not be Jewish. So yeah, I completely agree. I've only seen like John Boyega on his Instagram, like literally touring Detroit and all these places and talking to people and stuff like that. That's the only thing I've seen come from it, except for the trailers.
Yeah.
So it got me interested. I was like, oh, that's it. Like it's like they're sitting down and they're talking about what happened and stuff like that. So that's what got me interested.
And that's how you make a movie like that.
Yeah.
Don't just go to the news reports and the history books and whatever. Sit down with people who are like, yeah, I was here for this and this is what happened.
That's what it seemed like. It seemed like they were going to like college, like lectures. It almost looked like, and they came up on stage and they talked about what what the filming was like and then what they learned about that time period and everything else. And it was Instagram, so it was only a minute or two each video or whatever. So, but it got me like, oh, I want to see that. I'm interested in that. So
yeah, cool. And good for Boyega still getting work.
Oh yeah, dude's getting a ton of work.
Right. I just he was great in Attack the Block and then just kind of seemed to fall off the map until Star Wars. And I think that kind of sucked because he was good back then too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad he's getting the spotlight on him now so they could see, oh shit, this guy's really got acting chops.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. And I wasn't even that big of a fan of Pacific Rim. Everyone loved it, and I was like, okay. I'm excited for this one. It looks cool.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to take us out of the movie news now. Let's get into some TV news. And big one at the top is HBO.
Yeah, we weren't here last week to talk about this, but
latest victim of a cyber attack. Estimated 1.5 terabytes of material stolen. They're unsure what data was stolen. It says the email system was secure. But for example, episode 4 of Game of Thrones was leaked a few days early. But the Game of Thrones stuff has been pretty quiet since then. So I don't know. I don't think they got much more of that. They got like a few scripts or something.
But that wasn't even them. That was a totally different thing, though.
That's right. That was the Indian distributors.
Yeah, India Star.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even related to them. So that's what I was hearing, is that the Game of Thrones stuff might be okay, but like the Curb Your Enthusiasm, apparently, like they released like the first like however many episodes of the season that's going to be coming out.
Right. They did that. They did Ballers. They did Room 104. They've dropped a handful of stuff. I think that I want to circle back around to that point in a second, but I think that they're gonna wait until the finale. I genuinely do think that like the Wednesday of is it next week already? 2 weeks?
This week would be so it'd be next week.
Yeah.
Because this Sunday is the episode before the final.
Okay.
And the final's next week. Yeah.
So yeah, I give it a week. Like wait until like Wednesday of next week, and if they have it, that's when you're gonna start seeing it. Like they're gonna jump the gun on the finale.
Right. And if you're listening, don't steal that stuff. Game of Thrones, you want to enjoy. You want to sit down, watch it in high def, you want to enjoy it. Don't, and if it leaks, stay off the internet. That's what I did when I found out it leaked. I stayed away from any of those, and there's a ripple effect to this, because I imagine all of these websites that we like to go to, ain'titcoolnews.com, IO9, all of those sites, whenever I hear of a big leak like this, I stay the fuck away.
Yeah.
Because those comment sections, even it's crazy, even like Bleeding Cool sometimes, they will post the spoiler in the article title. And
in
you're
the
like,
headline.
fuck.
That pisses me off more than anything, because I hadn't watched, I don't remember what it was. I don't think it was Game of Thrones, but it was something where I was like, oh, I've got to catch up with this or something. Right. Or like it was last week's episode of something, and the headline was basically like, here's the big spoiler, what did you think? And I was like, fuck you.
Yeah, I'm in a Discord chat that's very aware of, like, the Discord chat I'm in, there's no spoilers ever, and if you post it, you're gone. Like, it's very strict.
Yeah.
And they warned that if you want to be spoiler free of the metal comic that will be coming out today, stay off of Bleeding Cool, because they spoil something major in the title. The title's like, spoilers, blah 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 blah.
Right.
And but they didn't say it in the Discord, so now I'm off Bleeding Cool. So I imagine this HBO thing, the ripple effect it's having just across the whole industry is devastating, because HBO has premium content that you have to pay for, and the reason the quality is so good is because I think it is premium, and this is a shame. This doesn't help anybody, and the stuff that was leaked, from what I understand, like the Game of Thrones one, like someone on Facebook was like, it's like shitty, like it's the worst. Well, okay, I guess it was the Indian one, so it wasn't actually these people that leaked it. So who knows? But just stay away from that. It's terrible.
Yeah. And here's my thought on the impact of this in terms of HBO. I don't think the content leaks are that big a deal, and I know they're a big deal. I know they are. So don't let's. But hear me out on this for a second, because this is not going to drive people away from HBO. They're not going to suddenly cancel their HBO Now subscription because, oh my God, Curb Your Enthusiasm leaked, so now I can download it. The leaks do not affect people who are already subscribers.
Right.
Because HBO is not a ratings driven. If this was a network, big difference.
Oh yeah.
Huge different story. But I think because HBO is a subscription service, whether you have it on cable or HBO Now, that's not going to change any numbers. It sucks and it's illegal and all that shit, but it's not actually going to change your numbers like if this was something from the CW or ABC or even like AMC. Like that's because they're ad revenue dependent. Right. It's not going to, HBO isn't worried about ratings in that respect. The problem that we're going to find is they say their email server was secure. I don't believe that for a second. I never believe that, because if there's one thing we have learned since the Sony hack, it's that nobody in Hollywood has learned a fucking thing about cybersecurity since the Sony hack, and it's pissing me off. When this shit happened with Sony, everybody should have immediately hired the best cybersecurity people in the world and shored up their shit. And then what happens a couple years later? Netflix gets hacked in much a similar fashion. And then what happens a few months later? HBO gets hacked. And I'm just, fix your shit, people. There's no excuse for this anymore. There's no reason for these massive security breaches anymore, because you have seen this happen before. You know this is coming, especially if you're HBO. You know they are gunning for you. You should have the top dogs defending you. No question. You should have the best cybersecurity in the entertainment industry, bar none. And I think that I don't believe that their email system escaped unscathed. I think that once that stuff starts to be released, that's where you're going to see the fallout, because it's going to be like what happened at Sony all over again. I think that's where we're going to see the kind of nightmare scenario for HBO once everybody's personal shit gets out, and who said what about what, and who's getting paid this, and who thinks this about that. that's where it's going to be a problem. It's not the content leaks that are going to be, this is just, pinpricks with a needle. They suck, but they're going to survive it. The real issues are going to be once all the communications come out. That's where it's going to get ugly, and that's where there's going to be problems.
Yeah, those emails, that was one of like you said, that was the big problem with Sony, is all that confidential stuff came out. Oh gosh, that sucks. A lot of and that's the thing, like we talked about Sony, like how did that happen? You think after that HBO of all companies would be like, let's secure our shit, or do you think maybe this was an inside job?
I don't know. I'm not, I sound like one of these people on TV. I'm not an expert, but depending on just how well, I don't know.
The episode 4 of Game of Thrones was an inside job, technically.
That was decidedly an inside job. They've actually started arresting people from, what was it, Prime? I've got it written here. Was it Prime Focus? Yeah, Prime Focus Technologies, which handles the data management for India Star. They've arrested people who are like, oh no, they took that shit. Like they stole that intellectual property, and there may even be more arrests. But this, I think this is just beginning. I think if they have actual Game of Thrones episodes, I think that it's going to be before the finale, where they decide, hey, look, we're going to put this on the internet on, Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever, and spoil all that shit. That's the only way to deal a real heavy blow on the content side. I think it's the personal information and documents and correspondence and all that shit. That's when it's going to get ugly. And I'm just I'm just begging everybody, even the companies that I don't like, don't let this happen to you. Spend the money on the extra security, because God knows you're going to need it. And I think that everybody should probably look to Disney as an example, because you got to believe if they're out there gunning for people with content, they have got to be coming at Disney. And and nothing has happened, because hopefully, knock on wood, they are sensible enough to say, yo, we have to lock this shit down hard. So
Disney's the big one out there, because think about the
Star Wars
movies. Star Wars and the comic book movies are the biggest things on the planet right now, and have been for an extremely long time. And mum's the word.
Yeah, we know that
actors are legitimately scared of going missing if they leak something.
Right. Just imagine, like, there would be no bigger prize for an entertainment hacker right now than a print of episode 8.
Right, exactly.
So, look to Disney's example, because I would imagine they're probably doing this right.
Oh, yeah. Well, with that said, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back. We'll get into some more TV news. Again, you're listening to We Geek Podcasts on the N.FM, and we will see you guys all in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcasts on the N.FM. And before I went to break, we were talking about the big HBO leak. Hopefully they got everything figured out. Obviously, we will both support HBO and continue to support them, because they just have such great content. Westworld, Game of Thrones, even like going back to watching Sopranos and Wire. Go support them. Go download their app. The next bit of news is weird. I've never seen anything like this. Basically, Walking Dead producers, which include Robert Kirkman, the creator of The Walking Dead, claim massive AMC profit scam in a new lawsuit. So they're basically suing them, suing AMC Studios. The damages could reach $1 billion, and it's over profits made from the series that I guess they did not. They should have gotten. This is crazy. This is huge, dude.
Yeah, this is help me out here. This is kind of like what Frank Darabont was sort of talking about in his lawsuit that's still ongoing. And when he said he wanted $250 million, and everybody laughed, kind of in his face about it. And now we've got Robert Kirkman and Galen Hurd, and who are the other two that we have here? Plaintiffs.
Glenn Mazara.
Yeah,
David Alpert.
Yeah.
You guys know me. I'm terrible with names, so
yeah,
excuse me.
Yeah, no, Mazzara. It's Glenn Mazzara. But,
yeah.
He and David Alpert also on this suit, and this is a separate suit from Darabont, but it's still just like, oh, so maybe he's not crazy after all.
Right.
And so now this is going to get ugly, and this is going to get bad. This is going to get real bad.
Yeah, because it's one thing they replace the showrunner and they go, okay, everyone's still on board except for that one showrunner.
Yeah.
All of the producers, you can't do a show. Right? Like, I mean, you still have the property, but
I mean, if suddenly now, and it's not just like Kirkman having sour grapes. It's not just one producer getting upset. It's the creator and executive producer and 3 other producers all saying, oh, you know what, you guys owe us a shit ton of money, and this is bad. This is seriously bad.
This is really bad.
This is like AMC going to have to be audited kind of bad. Like, this is not good, not just for The Walking Dead, but for AMC in general. Like, this may spread. This may be the first in a number of these lawsuits, which may come out from other shows with similar arrangements. They may start taking a much closer look at their books and saying, oh, this is happening here too. And now maybe it's just here, maybe I don't know, but this could be absolutely catastrophic for AMC.
Yeah, dude. Yep. Yeah, it's crazy. I was reading over the article, and the AMC's trying to blow it off like this happens all the time in Hollywood when you have a successful show. They're making it seem like it's not that big of a deal. But...
Yeah, well, sure. That argument worked when it was just Darabont. When they were just like, oh, it's just one dude, and he's, he got a bad deal because he can't negotiate, and so he's pissed, blah, blah, blah. Just Hollywood. Now you're 8 seasons in, and you've got basically your high council of The Walking Dead coming in and saying, nope, you guys have screwed all of us. You don't just brush us off. This is not just, oh, well, this happens all the time in Hollywood. If this happens all the time in Hollywood, then a lot of Hollywood is fucked.
Right, yeah. And it's saying next week New York judge will hold an oral hearing about the summary judgment motions in the Darabont case. So,
yeah, this is going to have an impact on his case too. Now all of a sudden, it's not just, oh, he's just bitter about this. Now, for better or worse, now they're going to take a look at this with a different perspective now.
Oh yeah.
So this could go from being this could just be very bad for AMC, or it could, to go ahead and take the alarmist position. This could absolutely destroy AMC. Not just from this deal, but look at, everything else they produce.
Right.
What else might they be hiding? Maybe nothing. Maybe it's just one bullshit deal. But odds are probably not. It's probably like this in more than just one instance, and it's going to be bad. It's going to be very bad.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And man, it sucks. Yeah, because Walking Dead, for as long as it's been on, it's still great. Still #1 show. Like, I can't wait for the next season. And this is just a big cloud. And I think it gives a lot of clout that Robert Kirkman is a part of this.
Yeah.
Because he is the creator of the whole thing, and I think that means a lot that he's with the producers going, hey, no, we're getting screwed here, and this isn't right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're not getting paid what they should. So, yeah, AMC has made $1 bazillion off of this franchise. Do the right thing. You have so much good going for you right now with the shows that you're making. Preacher is a big hit. People love that. You have the spin-off Walking Dead show, and I'm sure you got some more coming down the path. So don't screw the pooch with this one.
Right.
Because, you had Breaking Bad, which was great, but Robert Kirkman has, man, the things he's done for that channel. What he's given, not only in just giving the original concept, but being a producer and writer and everything else on it. It's, come on. But yeah. I don't know. I don't really have anything else really to say about it. Yeah, it's crazy. But we'll keep an eye on that. We'll talk about it once we get some more news. Some good news, some Jessica Jones news. David Tennant is set to return for season 2 of Jessica Jones.
Yeah, I think it'll be a mental presence. I think it'll have to be.
Yeah, like a PTSD type deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I could totally see that, and then it would make her question: am I going crazy? Is this guy in my head? What that would be a great season.
Yeah, I really think that's where they're going to go with it. Because otherwise you just have too many questions.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. So that's cool. Good Omens. David Tennant and Michael Sheen cast in dual lead roles in Crowley Demon and I'm not going to pronounce that name.
Aziraphale.
Aziraphale. It sounds like a medicine.
Right.
That sounds like something you'd get at CVS.
Yeah. Ask your doctor if Aziraphale is right for you.
Right, exactly.
Do you suffer from occasional demonic possession?
Right. So Good Omens, was that a TV show or a movie? Or was it what was that? It sounds familiar.
It's a book. It's a Neil Gaiman, Terry Pratchett.
Did we read that?
I think we did. I know I started to. I don't know if I finished it or not.
I don't know.
But
yeah. Okay, gotcha.
It's a good book. It's an interesting take on the end of the world. I have not finished it. I keep wanting to dive into it, and then I find something else and just kind of go off in a different direction, which sucks. But yeah, they're doing a series. It's going to be a limited run series based on it. It's been a good week to be David Tennant, really.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for real.
But I think this is spot on casting. Good for them.
Oh yeah. We got some Carl Urban news. He's in talks to star in Judge Dredd series.
Yeah, he's talking about it.
He's always talking about stuff.
Right. Well, it's not like he's real busy. So
he's in everything.
I know, right?
Literally everything. Marvel, Star Trek, like he's just doing it all.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings. He's crazy. It's great.
Good for him. 'Cause I like him. He was arguably one of the best parts of Star Trek. His Bones was fantastic.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Was at a family member's house. We were watching the Star Trek movie. We just decided to watch all 3 of the new Star Trek movies. And just hanging out. We were doing a whole bunch of other stuff in the process, but it is. I just remembered how great those movies were. And oh man, yeah, they're good. And he's great in them. But yeah, the Judge Dredd. I don't think I've ever seen the original movie.
Don't.
Yeah, I've only seen it in like the Super Nintendo games and stuff like that. And there was comic series, obviously, but I liked the one that he was in.
Yeah, that's how Judge Dredd is supposed to be. The one that they did with Stallone was a '90s movie. It was Demolition Man, but with different outfits. It was
right.
It was the same kind of nonsense. Just save yourself the trouble. Stick with the one they did a few years ago. Dredd was awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really good. I liked it. So yeah, a TV show with him. Come on, stop. Just make it already.
Right.
Why tease us like that? Just do it. We got some other television news here. We got One Race Television. From Vin Diesel.
Yeah, it's his production company. Yeah.
Reviving series on NBC, Miami Vice. So they want to bring Miami Vice back. It could work. They got the Hawaii Five-0. I'm shocked it has not been remade yet. Honestly.
Hawaii Five-0 worked really well, and then they got rid of the Asian people. So CBS not.
Did they?
Yeah, there was a whole big. You didn't follow that because
no, I don't watch Hawaii Five-0.
Well, they weren't getting. It was a contract thing. Daniel Day Kim and Grace Park were not happy with the terms of their contract. in comparison to their Caucasian co-stars. And it was another case of like, you're kidding me, right? We're still doing this? Well, blah 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 blah, corporate speak, etc. etc. All right, fine, then we're out. Bye. See you later.
Oh wow.
So it was a whole big to do. Yeah.
I didn't know that. That sucks. He's good, dude.
He's so good.
Oh,
Johnny
so
Gat,
is she too.
Man. Johnny Gat.
Oh yeah, I remember when that show came out, and I thought, oh my god, here's the girl from Battlestar. Here's like 8 people from Lost.
Yeah.
It was like this amalgamation of just different shows that left. That were off television that came together because obviously, and it made sense for a lot of the Lost stars because they were right there in Hawaii.
Right. And I mean,
that sucks.
Yeah, and that was a really good show the first couple seasons, and then it started to stretch, and I just kind of lost interest. But first couple seasons of Hawaii Five-0 were really good.
Yeah, no, my grandparents watched the hell out of that. I remember I watched I don't know how many episodes with them whenever I come and visit or whatever.
Yeah, it's good, and I'm not surprised that they're doing Miami Vice. But yeah, I'm just is
it gonna be set in like 2017?
I think it would have to be. Like, I don't think
it's gonna be CSI Miami.
Right? I mean, more or less. Like, I don't know, man. I
could see it. I mean, I could totally see it.
Oh, I can too.
It's not for us. This is for the 40, 50-year-old audience that just wants to watch that kind of television at night, honestly. And it's big. Yeah. It's huge.
Oh yeah. I mean, NCIS is in its 800th season now. Like, I mean,
right. Yeah.
There is an absolute audience for this, no doubt.
Yeah, they're gonna watch that and then watch some American Pickers and go to bed. Like that, it makes sense.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Let's see here, but yeah, so I could totally see that.
Yeah.
It's odd with Vin Diesel attached to it, but I guess it's production company. So.
Well, it's gonna be, I mean, it's his production company, and
hey,
boy.
You know what? If they make it ridiculous like Fast and the Furious, I'm on board.
They would kind of have to. Really.
I want it to be over the top.
Yeah.
Like way over the top, like Fast and Furious over the top, and I would sign on. I would totally sign on if they were just completely. Oh, that would be fantastic. But yeah, all right. So where were we here? Go ahead, take the next one here.
Yeah. So YouTube has decided we need a half-hour comedy series, starring William Zabka and Ralph Macchio, reviving their roles from the Karate Kid.
Why not?
It's gonna be a series called Cobra Kai, named after the dojo that Zabka's character trained at, and it's gonna be the two of them. From what I remember from the plot summary, that made me cry because I was laughing at it so hard. It's basically like the gyms all fall on hard times, and so they have to band together to teach karate in order to make ends meet, kind of thing.
I'm in.
I am too, because this is just going to be insane. It's just going to be ridiculous, and I love it. I think it'll be great. We have they're coming back. Hang on, lost the microphone there. Sorry about that. The Hot Tub Time Machine dude, Josh Heald, is going to write alongside John Hurwitz and Hayden Schlossberg, who are also going to direct. So
that sounds crazy enough to work.
It could, and as a YouTube Red series, yes, that is absolutely the place for something like this, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, I could, back in the, I don't want to say back in the day, but not too long ago on YouTube. Remember when they were doing like, hey, let's just do like a Mortal Kombat miniseries,
right?
And a Dark Power Rangers, 30-minute. Like fan film thing, like that kind of crazy stuff could thrive on YouTube Red.
Right, absolutely.
Or like Street Fighter or whatever they were doing, like stuff like this that's so random and out there, and still everyone knows Karate Kid, and they're like, what? They're gonna do a show? It's just like, yes, of course, I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
I was just talking about how if Miami Vice was over the top, I would watch it, because that's fun, that's different, that's.
Right.
Things like that catch my eye now.
And I want this to be the flip side. I want this to be as grounded as possible. Because I think that's where the absurdity kind of comes in. These two
Right.
who are still going to be doing, like, I imagine, like, they're still going to be, like, training in that 80s montagey mindset. And
They're
kids
not gonna
today are
take our
going to be
chance.
looking at them like, the fuck? Like,
Right.
what? Like, just, that would work. I would watch that. That would absolutely work.
Yeah. Need to make more kung fu movies.
Right?
They don't make that many anymore.
They really don't make any. When was the last one that was even halfway decent?
I can't tell you. I liked oh, well, you know what's kind of taken over that is the action of like Fast and Furious and stuff like that.
Right? Yeah. I mean, we do.
But but think about that. I think we could get a kung fu movie level movie on the level of Fast and Furious.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah.
Like it could totally happen. It's just without cars. That's the only big difference.
Right.
Yeah. I forget the name of the movie, but he was a kickboxer. Oh, what was his name? He was in Fast and Furious.
Oh, oh, I don't know who you're looking for.
And he was like a Thai kickboxer. Oh, this is gonna bother me. This is gonna bother me now.
Oh, look at
Well,
yeah. Look it up on break.
Yeah, we're gonna take a quick break, and when we get back, I'll tell you about the guy I'm talking about, who is just crazy good. But oh yeah, aren't they doing a Bruce Lee movie or something like that?
Yeah, I was actually just gonna say, like, they are doing, was it like Enter the Dragon or something like
Yeah,
that?
yeah. I'll take.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna take a quick break. I want to look at that. I'm gonna find out who the hell I'm thinking of, and we'll be back. Again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. We'll see you guys all in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. And the guy I was thinking of was Tony Jaa.
Yeah.
Jaa, however you pronounce it. He was from Umbach. Is a series, really good. And he's been in a ton of other stuff now because of it, like Fast and Furious. So that's what I was thinking of. And when we went on a break, I watched the Birth of the Dragon trailer, which is a biopic of Bruce Lee when he started to become famous in movies and whatnot. And that looks awesome.
Yeah, it looks really good.
That looks great. Absolutely. And one surprise that came to us is apparently it's gonna the WWE Films is doing it, which is a shock. But if you didn't have that at the beginning, you would never know because it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
So there you go. So that should probably out. It says it comes out in the summer in the trailer. So that's got to be out soon, right?
20 next Friday, August 25th.
Oh shit! I'm gonna go see that.
Well, it's distributed by WWE Studios.
Oh, okay. So it's.
So
no wonder it didn't star like Dolph Ziggler or something.
Yeah, right. They didn't make it. They're just distributing it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I see it's gonna be around me, so that's kind of cool. At the Epic Theater. So
nice.
Cool. Yeah. So let's see. Where were we? We were done with, I think, TV news.
Yep.
Didn't really have any video game news. We talked about what we were playing. I think everyone's kind of waiting now for Destiny, right?
Yeah, that's the next big, because that's what, September?
That's September, yeah. So
God, that's in what, like 3 weeks, right? Shit.
That's in 3 weeks. So in 3 weeks, Destiny's gonna kind of you're gonna hear a lot from Destiny, probably from me, but
and me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, you dip in and out. You're like, oh, I'm good, and then you're like, oh, I'm done.
I'll hardcore through the story of it. Like I will plow through. I will dive into that head first. But once I'm done with that, I'll be spotty, like kind of off and on. Like, I'll play, like I'll do a little Crucible here and there, and then just be like, I don't feel like it today.
Oh yeah. Well, there was just the other day here. Let me see if I can pull it up here. They were the story's supposed to be massive. Let me see if I can find the article I'm talking about. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find it here. There's a lot of stuff to go through.
Well, this one looked like they learned from the last one of like having an actual narrative from the onset. Like,
right.
Because, I mean, the last, once we got the Taken King, then finally it was like, oh, they've revamped this thing to have a story basically. And they learned from that. So Destiny 2 looks like, oh no, we have a narrative. Like, don't worry, we're going to tell you a fucking story.
Yeah, and I can't find it right now, but oh yeah, the Destiny 2 revealed massive campaign 4-on-4 Crucible. It's supposed to have. Let me get down to where these articles are the worst. Yeah, God, I gotta read through all this stuff. Just saying it's supposed to have a massive campaign, but I remembered it saying like at least 10 hours of story. Oh man, this is the worst. This is the worst. All right, I can't find it. I need to be more prepared for that. But yeah, I don't know. That's what I was reading, is that there's the campaign's actually supposed to be really big. So
nice.
That is good. Absolutely. Also, let's see here. Let's see if I can pull it up. Did you see that No Man's Sky did a huge update?
Yeah, too little, too late for me.
I don't know. I already own it, so I have no reason not to try it. Apparently added 30 hours of new story content, like story, actual like quests and story. And from what I understand, a lot of the groups that I'm in, they're like, this is intriguing. This is really cool. This obviously should have been there from the beginning.
So but the same thing that happened to Destiny.
Yeah. But I already own it, so I might just give it a go. It's including an appearance of a new interdimensional alien race, has limited online co-op feature called Joint Exploration, improved galactic mapping, variety of visual quality, and planets improved with new rare planet types, crashed freighters, buried resources, scavenging missions. New mission board introduces constant extra missions and NPC guides. Full galactic trading system, more in-depth scanning. It sounds too good to be true. So I don't know. I haven't played any of the new stuff, but it sounds like what they promised at the beginning.
Yeah,
so,
a little more anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, so because I already own it, I'm definitely going to dive back in at some point in the next few weeks before Destiny to give it a test. I might have to start over. I don't know. But because I think I'm like on a planet and I'm trying to gather resources to get off of this specific. I don't know.
That was what happened to me. Like I did a little bit of exploring and then I was like, oh, but now I've got to mine like this ridiculous shit, and I got tired of it. I got tired.
Yeah. Well, it was the more you put into it, the more like I'm not stranded there. It's just like I want to get a few jumps away, and I'm like, okay, I definitely need to grind it out. So yeah, so if there's an actual story mode, 30 hours of it, that's awesome. That's cool with intergalactic travel and stuff like that. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll probably hear that from you next week or something like that. What? Oh yeah. So Netflix buys Miller World or Millar World, however you pronounce it.
Right.
I've heard it both ways.
Yeah.
But that's big. Apparently, it doesn't include the two biggest ones, which is Kick-Ass and what's the other one? The one that's the movie that's coming out.
Kingsman.
Kingsman. Yeah. Apparently, those two are not included.
Well, because those rights have already been sold.
Exactly. But there's everything he writes is like a movie pitch, it seems like. So that's cool. Hell yeah, more the merrier on Netflix.
Yeah, they could finally do like a Wanted limited series and do it right.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, totally. What else? What else for news we got here?
So here was a thing that I'm just gonna lay this out here, and I want you to tell me what you think.
Yeah.
There are genuine discussions between the International Olympic Committee and the co-president, at least, of the Paris Olympic Bid Committee, because they have the games for 2024. Los Angeles has them for 2028. Mm-hmm. Paris is discussing esports in the Olympics. Go.
Okay. I don't know anything about esports, so I'm coming at it as an outsider. In the very same tone, I know a lot about video games. I love video games, obviously, in the industry and stuff like that. But esports is not. That's like a hallway that I've never gone down. And so I can't really speak too much on it. I could understand why a lot of people think that that's ridiculous, that it's not a sport, that it is, it shouldn't be in there because it's not athletic. But at the same time, I think car racing should be in the Olympics. You know what I mean? That's an actual sport too. Even though a guy is just sitting behind the wheel. I think that also should be in the Olympics, like that would be a cool thing to have. I don't, I think there's a lot of pressure to put esports in the Olympics because of how big it is, because of the young audience, because of the Asian audience, especially because the Asian Games, that is the second biggest sports thing on the planet right behind the Olympics, has it, and they all are pushing for it. Russia, it's not just it's Russia, it's South Korea, Japan, China, they all want it in there. And I think, if people want it in there, why not? What if you're going to get more eyes on the Olympics? Why not? You don't. I don't think it should. I don't think it would make it any less important, or all the other stuff any less important. You know what I mean? It's a big thing. The guys who do esports, like, they have to train. Like, they live together. That's what they do every single day, all day long. And obviously they're not running, they're not, they're not swimming, they're not doing anything like that. So I could totally see both sides of this. I could absolutely see why people would think that's ridiculous and that should stay out of it. But I could also see the benefits from it. It doesn't bother me that, I don't have this like, well, that can't go in my Olympics, because I'll be honest, I haven't seen the Olympics in years. It doesn't interest me. But if you're telling me there's esports in it, that kind of cool. I mean, we have a lot of other weird shit. Like, what's the one with their sweeping in front of the?
That's curling, but that's a Winter Olympics. That's the Winter Olympics.
That's still a Winter Olympics. That's
I know,
still
but
ridiculous.
Winter Olympics
that over car racing? Get out of here.
Winter Olympics don't count. They're weird.
And believe me, I don't like car racing. I'm not into NASCAR or any of that stuff. I know you are. Not my thing, but I think that should be in it. That's a sport. So I think why not? If especially if there's such a demand and they're seeing that other organizations like the Asian Games can do it, and there's not a problem, why not? Do you think people are actually going to turn off the TV and never watch the Olympics again if they find out there's esports?
I think.
Do you think it has like that big of a stigma where they're like, not in my? I mean, it's on ESPN, and I get my friends that are huge into sports don't play video games. They're like, that's kind of funny that's on there sometimes, but it doesn't take away from any of their other programming.
That's a fair way to look at it. That's fair.
Yeah, it has an audience. You know what I mean? Like, you watch football, but you might not be into horse racing, but that's on ESPN.
True.
I think the argument is it a sport? And that's where the problem for a lot of people lies.
Well, and it's the same reason that chess isn't an Olympic sport. It's the
right.
idea of like, is this a sport? But again, dressage is not a sport.
Right.
That's not a sport. Get that shit out of the Olympics.
I think chess would be awesome in the Olympics.
I would not mind seeing chess in the Olympics, because I don't know. You made a good point. I didn't think about the ramifications of like how big an audience esports might bring in. I honestly didn't think about that. I just kind of got hung up on the idea of being a gold medal League of Legends player. Like that, that phrase by itself just made me laugh so hard.
Right. Well, wasn't there a tournament in Seattle over the week? There was a tournament in Seattle over the week, and I think it was a Dota 2 tournament where the winners took over $10 million.
It's it's a line between what does and doesn't go in the Olympics. A lot of things that are sports that don't go in the Olympics, and I think
isn't wrestling in the Olympics?
Wrestling is in the Olympics.
Not anymore. Did they take it out?
No, they wanted to, and then.
Oh, okay. That's what I heard.
Yeah, they wanted to, but then people got together and were like, wrestling was the first Olympic sport.
Right. That's exactly what I was going to say. It's like because I was reading something that said that you're absolutely right. They were talking about how people want that to not be in the Olympics, and I think that's absolutely ridiculous.
Right, like that is the Olympic sport. It was the very first Olympic sport, and
right.
You know, I mean, I don't mind if they want to add, because I mean they were like and look, this past year they had golf in the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think golf belongs in the Olympics. I don't.
No, but that's the thing is if golf to me that's on the same level as esports.
Right.
You know,
it really is a thing of like you have to define what you think the Olympics should be. Then you have to balance what goes and what stays. If the Olympic, to me the Olympics should be about athleticism. So for me, as much as I would love to see chess in the Olympics, I don't think it belongs. I don't think golf belongs. I don't think trampolining belongs in the Olympics, but there the fuck it is. Right. I don't think dressage belongs, and I don't think, just by that same metric, I don't think esports should belong. I'm not saying my Olympics should be a physical athletic competition.
I agree.
That's where I see.
But I don't think we're there anymore.
No, we're not. We're absolutely not.
Right. So I completely agree with you. I am 100% behind what you're saying, and that's why I can see both sides of this.
Right.
I can see why some think it's ridiculous. I can see why some people go, why not? Look at what we have in there. We've already crossed the barrier of, it's why not?
Exactly.
And I go back to that Olympic one with the guy, the sweeping. It's like, is that a sport? Is that more of a, and that's where I get like, why isn't racing in there? What we have golf. What, I mean, it's a fun thing to do for business, but I'm just kidding. I just pissed off a lot of people. I'm just kidding. But is that I don't know. It's obviously golf's super old too, so I'm surprised it took that long for it to get in there. But when you want a newer audience, let's be real here. That's what this is all about.
Yeah.
The Olympics is there to make money.
Agreed.
And the fact that the Chinese market, the Asian market, and Russia, they're already doing this in the second biggest world games, and they don't blink an eye. It is not a stigma to them. They don't give a shit about that. They know that it is a huge moneymaker, and so I could totally see them doing it because they're like, hey, there's a whole group of people that like this stuff. And maybe I'm glad that they're considering it. I'm glad they have the balls to go, you know what? We're pretty old, and maybe we should give a look at this and see if it's worth it. I'm glad they at least did that.
Agreed.
To me, it's not as bad as like the World Cup coming into a town, completely destroying it and then leaving. Like, there's other bigger issues here,
right?
than what's going on adding esports, But yeah, and LA would be the perfect town also to do that into if they were going to do it in LA.
Well, because
so many YouTubers and everything else.
They want to start this in Paris. Okay, fine. Let's have esports in Paris. Okay.
Yeah. To me, honestly, it wouldn't diminish it even more. It might actually get me to watch it. So. And I think that's the whole idea. They want, and maybe I'll stick around and I'll watch some of the other stuff. So yeah, but that's it for our show this week. We will be back next week. Let's see here. Make sure you go to our Facebook group. Make sure you go to iTunes. Make sure you give us a good rating. Only 5 stars. And make sure you go to our Twitters, at the Logan Witt, at Adam Estep, at We Geek Podcast. And we'll be back next week. Anything else?
I think that'll do it.
Captain.